It's amazing. Well, hello everybody, how's it going? Welcome back. Huh?
Who wants to know?
Who wants to know?
The Dragon Case.
Well, I'll tell you here in a second. You don't know who I am. I am Joe Thompson, president of the Houston SABR chapter.
Hello there.
And despite what you may think, no, I am not a Dodgers fan. All right? No. My grandson and daughter-in-law are from Okinawa, Japan. They just came back from Okinawa. And this jersey is my gift.
Turn around, show them your name.
And they did something else nice for me. On the back is my last name in Japanese. So, all right? No problem. Huh?
What's the 8 for?
They didn't know my favorite number, so they just gave a number. So like, well, he's born in August, we'll put 8. They didn't know my favorite number.
Let the P out.
Don't talk about my family, Mike. But anyway, in honor of what they bought for me, I thought I'd wear this. And y'all know I would be caught dead in the Dodgers.
Right.
Sorry. But anyway, this is from them. So welcome back, everybody. We've seen each other, what? Once the last 3 months. You know, we had a couple of events that we've had. You know, I hope y'all had a good summer. How many of you are happy about how the Astros season has turned out?
So far, so good. So far,
Yeah.
I mean, come May, we were freaking out a little bit, worried, wondering when the next
Man, it's
ESPN or MLB update that says another Astros pitcher has been hurt. You know,
I'm not as nearly disappointed as their big credits I was if they had happened.
I was getting to that, Mike. I was getting to that. So, as far as the membership goes, we had one member join in August. Allison Levine, even though I know Allison, she's with SABR. She's from St. Louis. So she joined our chapter. So thank you, Allison. She had some very good presentations. If you haven't been to the last couple of if you haven't been to a national convention, she gives some really good presentations. She's actually on SABR board too. So she joined our chapter. The last time we met together was July 15th. Matt Dahlgren was our guest speaker. You don't remember Matt? He wrote a book about his grandfather, Dave Dahlgren, the guy who replaced Lou Gehrig at first base. The name of his book called Rumor in Town, Matt Dahlgren's Rumor in Town. It was about the life and tragic story of his grandfather. So, Herb, you want a copy of it? Did you read it? Did you read part of it? Not, it's a fascinating and sad story. So, if you want to go back and watch the video of July, it's really an interesting story. So, also our buddy Mike Vance has released the second. He spoke to us in April about the first of his Wingo trilogy books. Okay, he spoke to us in April about the first book. Well, the second book has been released. The second book is called Wingo's Redemption. It came out on August 4th. So if you like the idea of baseball fiction, then that's what he talked to us about in April. The second of his trilogy is now available. All right. The second one, the first one is called Wingo. The second one is called Wingo's Redemption. So you can get it on Amazon and everywhere else. So
When will it be on Netflix?
when will it be on Netflix? That is something we should probably ask Mike. Mike, if you're listening to this meeting, I know you're not on, but please respond to us and let us know when the Netflix special will be released. All right? I'm sure Mike will get a kick out of there. So make it an episode. You know, season 1, Wingo.
I need
Season 2,
12
Wingo.
episodes, free book.
So anyway, all right. Speaking to Mike's question here, or Mike's thought, are we happy with Yusei Kikuchi?
Yes.
Are we happy with the trade?
Yes.
Can we give Dana Brown a break now?
Yeah.
Did we get the better end of the deal or the worst end? Be honest.
They got a good DVD. Cheddar. They're good players. I think good player is a good grade for both.
Good trade for both.
I think
Resigns is a great trade.
Who did you wish we wouldn't have given tonight?
one of them.
One of them? It
Right.
was Loper Fido, Will Wagner, and Jake Loss. Have we heard much? I've heard about Loper Fido and his home run and triple. And
That's it, money.
we had
We have to resign him too.
huh?
We have to resign him, or it's a bad trade.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what do you think the chances are that we re-sign Kikuchi?
Very good.
60-40.
Very good.
60-40? Greg, you don't?
We got a lot of guys coming back in injury next year, so I'd love to sign him. I just don't see the money here.
Okay, so that leads to my next question. Would you rather, roll that dice with McCullers and Garcia and Reedy? Would you rather roll the dice?
We're down here, Seth's nice.
And dare I say, would you roll the dice on another year of Verlander?
I'll roll the dice.
I agree.
On a heavily incentivized contract, if he'd agree to that, damn right, but I would spend serious money on him, guaranteed.
Even though how good he's been. Kikuchi. We won every game.
You said Verlander.
Well, okay, so Verlander. All right. Is this the last year of his contract, Verlander?
Yeah. It is now because he didn't reach the threshold of 140 games. Right.
Okay.
It'd be his last year.
So you think he's coming back or is he gonna walk?
I think someone will throw a lot more money at him guaranteed than we did. That's what I'm like. I think he got tired of losing with the bet. Was ready.
Okay.
I'll be going back.
Okay. So who would you rather have back? Verlander or Kikuchi?
Kikuchi. Oh, I think Kikuchi.
John says, Lloyd says Kikuchi.
I think.
How about over here? Verlander or Kikuchi?
That's what I'm talking about. I don't think it's all about the money. Kikuchi itself that they didn't change anything I was doing. They just changed how many of what I was throwing.
Right.
The Astros analyzed me. You gotta like get the win.
Uh-huh.
It's gotta be good rather than going over and losing with another team. If you've got a team that's gonna help you be a winner. Is that's worth a little bit of salary section.
Yeah, I think so too. I really hope that they find some way to keep Kikuchi.
I mean, he was a flop and now the things are said. He's lived now back up to 500.
Yeah, good, good.
But right.
Bregman and Tucker, right? 30-40 million a year?
Yeah.
So Bregman's gonna walk, he's done?
You know, I think somebody would pay stupid money for it.
Yeah, here we go. And then
The idea?
somebody get a lemon. He'll start slow and stay slow. In about 3 years, he'll be done.
Okay.
He sold his house here, he's building a house in Arizona.
Bregman?
Right.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Well, I don't know. All right, so, what do you think our playoff chances are this year? Honestly,
Very good. Good, not great.
do you think we're locked into the third seed?
Yeah.
We're not gonna catch Cleveland or New York?
We're not the first.
In the national media, they have us locked into the World Series. We are in the heads of every national media.
Well, that's awesome, right?
It's our God-given right to be in the World Series.
Not many teams with 4 300 hitters at the top of the lineup and it's both in the already number 2.
That's right. That's true. That's
Not a
true.
really good chance.
And until we're dethroned, yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I hope it doesn't stop this year, the ALCS run, but, I think it'll work. That would be great, Olivier. We owe them. Okay. A couple of other interesting, chapter tidbits. I think, our VP of Communications, Patrick Petty, is not here. I don't know if, the federal government is gonna come get me after the meeting tonight, but, Patrick is part of some, interesting experiment with the job at NASA. So he can't be here, even though he did say he was gonna try to zoom in. He made a joke about, he's part of this, part of this study, part of this control group that is studying, they're recreating conditions like a spacewalk or something like that. So we made the joke that I would be the first Zoom participant from space, LOL. That's what Patrick would say. But Patrick, let me know, since he's
Printed by SpaceX.
True about space. But Patrick, let me know that one of our newest members on our Twitter page is none other than Jose Canseco. So, believe it or not, Jose Canseco is following our group on Twitter.
That's what we should have.
And if that's not enough, Mauricio Dubon liked one of my posts on Facebook and accepted my Facebook friend request. So I'm going to reach out to both of them. I don't care. Please come speak to our group. Jose Canseco and Mauricio Dubon.
I can't remember, but Canseco and Saturday or next Saturday, the training was Cowboy. In Sugarland.
Canseco will be in town in Sugarland. Appearing with the Cowboy.
We either just missed him or it's coming.
Okay. October what?
October
5th. October 5th, so Mike, it's your job to get Canseco's.
They're doing a celebrity
Home run derby.
Oh, yeah, he's doing that at home run derby, so.
That's right. Latest one.
Well, there you go. There you go. That would be something awesome. I bet we'd fill this place up.
Can't tell him.
I know, all right.
Send your brother Austin.
Won't be able
We
to.
won't know the difference. Send him down.
Okay, so this last month we spent Saber 52 in Minneapolis, and every year Saber recognizes several chapters for their outstanding work. The highest rating that Saber gives chapters is called an MVP chapter. The silver medal, as you may think of this, is the second highest rating. Is called the All-Star chapter, and the bronze is sort of the starting lineup. The Houston Saber Larry Dierker chapter achieved a all-star rating.
Wow.
From Saber. We're recognized. Saber convention. I think we should have been MVP, but we'll work on that for next year.
Good grief. Mike, do you have an understanding of?
No, Mike?
I'm sorry. He keeps talking. Joe, you have an understanding of what it specifically, what it would take to get us from here to there?
Which is why I think we were wrong. But that's okay. Which is why I think we should achieve the MVP rating. But that's okay. It's all right. Next year's Saber convention is in Dallas. Okay? You remember the date, Bob? Next year? Early June? Late June. Late June. It will be in Arlington. I'm sorry.
It's actually Irving.
Oh, sorry, Irving. Apologize. Yeah.
That's all.
That's right, Irving. It's all the same. Yeah.
Well, it's all, sorry.
Oh, it'd be South Oklahoma.
Yeah, South Oklahoma. So it'll be in Irving next year. So everybody should be able to go to the convention next year. So anyway, also speaking of our VP of Communications, Patrick can't be here tonight. He has graciously donated. Let me make sure I got this. He has 4 nosebleed tickets to the Astros game this Thursday. Okay, that he got for free, but he's not gonna be able to use them. So I figure the trivia winner tonight, we have some swag from Minneapolis, or you can pick 2 of the 4 tickets, and maybe we'll figure something else. So if you're interested, go to the Astros game this Thursday. If you win the contest, and maybe we'll think of something else. For the other 2, just let me know. I'll give you Patrick's email address. Now what?
I wonder who's using the other 2. That's right, man.
I don't know. I'm not gonna be there, and I got stuff to do. So if you're interested in this Thursday's game, you're playing. Yeah. So, Tony,
Yeah.
you and Scott, when's our next newsletter?
End of October.
End of October.
The deadline for articles is about a month now.
Okay.
With October, again, we would appreciate any contributions so far has. Because in the paper and write just really good clothes. So, they're all those.
I thought the last edition, you had several articles that you couldn't get
That's some extras.
that are going in this year.
Yes.
This is.
But not enough to fill it, George.
So,
And it may be delayed if the Astros, do well in the postseason, and we want to write about, how they do. They spill it to November.
it's still in November.
Probably should have a report on the convention.
Probably have a report of it, yeah, we'll probably have that. So speaking of, the next newsletter and the possible delay,
Pretty much done.
our next meeting is tentatively scheduled for October the 21st. Now, that depends on the Astros playoff run next month. October, especially around here, the last couple of years has been a little, we're supposed to have a meeting on the third Monday of every month unless the Astros are playing at home. And October is playoff season, so we'll kind of watch out for my emails. If it becomes obvious they're having a game on Monday, October 21st at home, we have to reschedule it or something like that. So our special guest next month is this guy, Sam Barrett. This guy right here. Actually, I did not know this, but Sam used to be an umpire. And he wrote a book, his diary, his life about being a umpire. So it's called Umpire Diary, My Personal Journey and Experiences Beginning an Umpire Career. It came out in July of this year. Sam is also writing a book about the 1971 Astros or something like that. So
Yes.
he's still looking for help on that. But he's going to speak to us next month about his umpiring career. Right, Sam? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
there's the
This
book
is-
right there. So
That's
he's
he's
gonna-
gonna get hold of Bob Esper. It looks like that.
Sam, Mike wants to know if you got a hold of Bob Aspermani.
Oh, I haven't reached out to him yet. I probably will at some point
Okay,
soon.
Hold on a second.
So any problem or they let me?
All right, what about now? What about now?
No, not yet.
Try again.
Try again.
Confidential information.
Go ahead,
Okay,
try
how about
again.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
we can hear you now. Go ahead, say it again.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I haven't reached out to him yet. I probably will pretty soon though. I've just had other stuff, but I'm gonna get to that. I appreciate that. You giving that to me.
There you go. We're also having a book review from Greg on Jane Levy's Big Fella bio about Babe Ruth. So I met quite a few potential speakers at SABR 52. November, well, David Krell, I got to reconfirm this, but he said he will speak to us about his book about baseball and culture, 1966. That's in November the 18th. Right. And December the 16th, the author of a book about Earl Wynn, the Earl Wynn. So I forget his name. Earl Weaver. Earl Weaver. Thank. But I haven't talked about it yet. So I've got this typo here. All right. So anyway, December the 16th. In January or February, I just found out a couple of hours ago, we may have a potential very special guest. So stay tuned for that. I'm hoping this kind of comes through. This will really make my day. But that's enough. I'm done talking for now. Let me introduce our special guest. Jimmy Price, owner and founder of Astros Future. If you want to know anything about the future of our club, talk to this guy. All right. He's a Air Force veteran, Air Force cop. Sir. Okay. So don't do anything bad, Mike.
I'm proud of it.
But started a social media account in 2013 to cover Astros prospects. The number of his followers grew rapidly over the years, and this prompted him to start his website, astrosfuture.com, in 2016. Today, his Astros Future account on Twitter has over 38,000 followers. So, the social media account website covers the Astros, the team's minor league system, and the club's prospects. Everybody, Jimmy Price. I'm gonna read the Air Force veteran as well, so y'all can read the Air Force jokes. The down arrow, okay. Put a PowerPoint here just to kind of keep me on track, but I really won't go on that too much. Really appreciate y'all having me out here. I'm obviously a huge Astros fan, and I enjoy talking about prospects and kind of about what this has kind of became, which really started as a hobby. So, name is Jimmy Price. I graduated high school in 06. So I give you an idea of kind of how old I am. So my Astros fandom really started around like the 98 time frame, you know, the Randy Johnson trade. I was 10 years old at the time. And then really transformed when the Astros started playing in Enron in 2000. Favorite player growing up was Lance Berkman. So I know it's a little not that long ago for some, but yeah, so the Astros fandom started there. I joined the Air Force in 2007. I got out in 2011, which I guess if I was going to be away from Astros baseball, that was probably a good time to be away from. 7 to 11. There was not much to cheer about other than really Lance Berkman was the only good thing that was going on during then. So why Astros future, you may ask. So in 2011, we obviously know how bad the Astros were. Put the records here, 56 and 106. They went through the rebuild, got a new owner, new general manager, and started trading off everybody. 106 losses in 11, 107 losses in 12, and 111 in 2013. So there was not much to look forward to in the Major League club. And the only thing we really had to hope for was prospects. The Astros traded off basically any resemblance of a Major League player to whoever would take them and got whatever they could in return. Some of those being really good prospects, some of them kind of washed out. But to me, the focus at that point was on the prospects and on the draft. So at the time, I was kind of during the lean years, I was looking at like forums for prospects. I was on like an ESPN or MLB forum, I think, and just looking at the stats because that was the fun part. You know, we Astros are terrible, but we knew we had these good guys coming up. You know, in 2011 they drafted George Springer. 2012 it was the Correa McCullers draft. So at a certain point, I was like, man, I need to share this passion with other people, and that's when I took it to at the time Twitter in 2013. So really for that, it was just, I was posting stats and posting highlights and trying to do what I could to share information about the prospects because that's all we had to look forward to, like I said at the time. That started in 2013. I originally named it Astros Minors, which is the term. I'm really glad I changed it because Astros Future, to me, has a little bit better ring to it. But like I said, it was just daily stats and pitcher lines. And I was just kind of trying to share, hey, here's what the Astros have coming. And this is the bright side. And you know, we obviously know what happened in 15 when they first made the playoffs and they had the contributions of a 20-year-old Carlos Correa, 21-year-old Lance McCullers. And that's when things kind of really started getting going and people were really focusing on the minors. It was number 1 pick in 12, 13, and then obviously 14 as well. Number 2, number 5 pick in 15. The Astros put a lot of effort into the minor league system, which was once probably ranked, you know, the bottom 2, and they ended up having a top 5 system for really the next probably 10 years after that. And now we're here. But I started that the Twitter, now X.com. And now I had no intentions of what it was going to be. It was just a way for me to share stats and slowly but surely it kind of started picking up some traction. I would get some reposts or some retweets from some players and you know, some good media members and things. And it turned out to what it is today, which is 38,000 followers, a little over 38,000. But as I was doing that, that passion was there. I wanted to keep sharing it, but Twitter at the time limited you to like 120 characters or something. So you're kind of limited on what you could share. So I was recruited to a website called House of Houston, which was a fan-sided website, just to write about the Astros. So I did that for a little bit, doing recaps, ranking prospects, things like that. And I wasn't getting paid for it. It was free. So I did that for about 2 years, and I kind of thought, why don't I just go ahead and create my own website, astrosfuture.com. Domain name was still there, so I was able to secure it. I created my website from scratch, and I'm by no means a web developer. I think it turned out really cool. Maybe we just look at it a little bit later. But I did it all from scratch when sitting at the house on my laptop trying to, and it took a lot of effort. But yeah, so 2016 is when I started that, the very beginning of the season, like March 2016. Been going ever strong since. So now we're at, you know, coming up on 8.5, coming up on 9 years now. So I do nightly recaps every single game, every single night that there's a minor league game, I do a recap. So the season's winding down now. The Hooks just finished their season on Sunday. Sugarland has one more series left before they go in the playoffs, but do the nightly recaps.
I do player interviews. I try to make my way out to Sugar Land, down to Corpus Christi and stuff to do the interviews, sometimes via Zoom, via the phone. I rank the prospects, try to do the top prospects at each position. Weekly, I put out a minor league hot list, 4 pitchers, 4 hitters who are doing well in the system. And just really trying to share as much information as I can with the Astros fans, which I will say sometimes probably makes the job of like Dana Brown a little bit harder. I try to pump up the prospects as much as possible. So y'all mentioned the trade for Kikuchi. That was a rough one. Was a popular guy. Wagner, we saw what Jake Bloss did. I know we can talk about the trade, and now it's looking a lot better. I still think it was a little expensive for a rental, but we can get to that later. But yeah, I try to just pump up the prospects. And really, when you look around, you have like MLB Pipeline and Baseball America that kind of cover all the prospects, but they really do it kind of sparingly, and they're kind of focusing on the top guys. So my goal was to really give publicity, positive publicity to all the prospects, the guys that are the 20th round picks, the 18th round picks that are kind of making their way up the system. And a lot of them just don't get that notoriety. They're writing about the top guys. So that's one of my main goals with that, is really share that for all Astros fans. So I was late to Instagram. My wife said it was a great thing. I've never really used it. Maybe that's just, I don't know. I just was hooked on Twitter. But I ended up opening Instagram, got my Facebook page going. And then as the website grew and those started growing, the followers did too. So X is a little over 38, Facebook's over 15,000, and Instagram's about 10,000 now. So like I said, I'm just posting stats. I focus on the minor leagues, but I will look at the Astros as well. I'll look at free agent options, trade targets, things like that. But I'm also a stat guy, so I love getting on Baseball Reference, getting on StatHead. I don't know if anyone has StatHead subscriptions, but you can really pull awesome stats, and I love sharing those stats for everybody. So not just minor league stuff, but major league stuff as well. Now with this, I will preface it in saying I don't get paid a ton to do it. So there's a little bit of ads on my site, which generates like very minor revenue, maybe enough to pay for the web hosting through GoDaddy and all that stuff. But I have been able to take trips out to North Carolina the last 3 summers. So the Astros have 4 full season minor league teams, and they have the Fayetteville Woodpeckers in Fayetteville, North Carolina, Asheville Taurus in Asheville, North Carolina, and obviously the Hooks in Sugar Land. Fayetteville is owned by the Astros. They had the Movies Creek Astros. Built this stadium in 2019. It's owned by the Astros, just like the Hooks, just like the Space Cowboys and Sugar Land. Asheville is privately owned, so there's a family that owns it in the Asheville area. So a little unique in that is the Astros. Anything they do to this, it's all theirs. Anything they do to that, they got to get approval through the city, and then they have they just approved a ton of renovations for Asheville. It doesn't have a press box. It doesn't have right now MILB.TV. You can watch most games. Asheville doesn't have cameras, so it's kind of in the Stone Age. But I don't know if anyone has heard of McCormick Field, historic McCormick Field. Babe Ruth played there when the Astros were in Asheville. Yes, sir. You're from where?
I'm familiar.
Oh, familiar with it. Yes, sir. So Babe Ruth played there. The Astros did have Asheville as a minor league affiliation back in like the late 80s. So Craig Biggio played there when he was a prospect. And then they just got with him a few years ago. So probably about 6 years ago, the Astros were completely spread out. And even further than that, we've had teams in California, the Midwest, just all over. These 2 teams are about 4 hours apart, so it's really great. So like I said, the last 3 summers I've been able to take a trip out there. I usually do 2 nights in Asheville, 2 nights in Fayetteville, and I just rent a car and make the drive. They're about 4 hours apart. And then I just try to talk to as many players as I can. I think this summer I talked with maybe 3 in Asheville and 4 in Fayetteville. And beautiful, as you can tell, Asheville, these are taking on my iPhone, but Asheville's a beautiful state. It's kind of up on a hill. Yes, sir.
Do they have lights?
They do have lights, they do. So it's not that far, but another interesting thing, and I've talked to pitchers about it. So if you look at pitchers' ERAs in Asheville, it's extremely hitter friendly. It's up kind of on the side of the mountain. I think the elevation is maybe like 3,000 feet. And this outfield wall is all metal. There's no padding on it. And I think it's like 290 in the right with the hot. So I talked to pitchers and they're like, yeah, it's tough pitching there because none of the outfielders chase fly balls hard and no one wants to run into the fence. They play so close that it's easy to pound one off the fence. But Asheville, beautiful place. Like I said, Fayetteville, the town, it's a military town where used to be Fort Bragg, I don't remember what it got renamed to recently. But great town and the stadium is beautiful. Like I said, built 2019. If you have a chance to take a trip out to Asheville, I would highly suggest it. I did it strictly out of wanting to see the Astros prospects, but now every summer it's something that I just enjoy. Yes, sir.
Chris, is Florida a maximum number wearing the bus?
So they, for full season affiliation, yes, so they have a single A, a high A, a double A, and a triple A. So they do have a rookie league team that's over in Florida, the Florida Complex League Astros.
Okay.
But you know, that's not very competitive. They play their games. A lot of them just bring Dallas to Florida in the summer and want to rain. But yes, they're Florida.
So they still have those rookie league teams where they lives and players from several clubs.
What do you mean by that?
Like there's a,
Seem like the team is not, the rookies are used by maybe the White Sox and Diamondbacks.
Okay, so he mentioned the Arizona Fall League, so that is one, yes, so actually it should be coming out hopefully in the next like couple weeks. Who the Astros are sending to the Arizona Fall League, usually they send 6 to 8 prospects, they team up on a team with other ones, and it's, they kind of use it for guys that have been injured during the season to go get some live reps and get really good players.
That's just the fall, not
But in the summer, yes, it's just strictly the Astros. Now, the Florida Complex League Astros, I know it's not a good thing to look at this year, but Jose Abreu, remember when he got sent to Florida, he played for the Florida Complex League Astros, so he brought the age of that team up quite a bit. Usually the average age is like 19. And the batting average down, yeah, average age is usually like 18 or 19. It's a lot of, you know, high school drafted players or internationally signed players. But he was playing with it. But anytime someone gets hurt in the Astros minor league system, that's usually where they go rehab. So you went and looked at their stats, you're gonna see a lot of the top prospects there, but they play a few games and they transition on to the next one. You have a question?
That's not more of a comment. I've been to both stadiums, but the Asheville one is like one of the 5 ultras that.
Yeah, I think they just celebrated the 100th year, I think maybe this year, so it's maybe built in the 19th. So yeah, like I said, I think they finally got approved for a ton of renovations. I think they're supposed to be done before next year. You know, from an Astro standpoint, for the organization, it doesn't really have the facilities that they need. You know, the weight room, the indoor batting cages, it's lacking there. So for the Astros to keep it, Asheville had to go ahead and do this. So they got the funding and they're going to be doing that, which I'm really looking forward to it. For instance, Walker Yannick, the Astros first round pick this year out of Sam Houston State, they immediately signed him to Asheville. Well, we don't get to watch him play because Asheville doesn't have cameras. So when they're on the road, they're good, but when they're at home, unfortunately, we don't get to see him.
So do you know the details on the improvements?
So I know for sure they're adding to the press box. They're adding the camera system, so they have the live feed of the video. They're adding a scoreboard in left field. I mean, this scoreboard here is like high school level kind of stuff. So they're adding a nice big scoreboard in left field, and then I think they're beefing up the concessions because those are really old school as well. And then I think it's expanding the weight room, the training room, things like that.
How about all the tracking of the pictures and?
So the Astros have that themselves. Obviously, they don't make
set that
it.
up?
Yes, sir. They don't have it public for everybody. It's public in AAA, which is nice. But yes, sir. They have pretty much each affiliate has their own employee that goes with them, and they set the cameras up every single.
Just one more question on Asheville. Are they gonna be padding the outfield wall, you know?
You know, I don't know. That would probably help some of the pitchers.
How long have they had the Asheville division?
To be exact, I think it was maybe 21 is when they got Asheville back. But like I said, they had them in the late 80s, early 90s. Asheville's been around a long time. It was the Rockies organization for a long time as well. Fayetteville's 2019. They've had the Hooks since 2005 when the Hooks had their first
Got a
season.
contract for how long?
With Asheville, it was a 10-year contract. So,
Cause they know it was a Brooks Sugarland too, they had to do.
right.
a whole bunch
But you know, the
of stuff.
Astros ended up buying the Sugarland Space Cowboys, so it's kind of like they're putting their own money into it, where this one is the city has to do it, or the owners. I did hear some rumblings that the Astros were looking to buy a new high A affiliation, but I think that may have been some rumors to get Asheville on it to improve their ballpark, and obviously they are now. So I think they're happy with it. I'm just happy with it because if I had to go 2 different states to try to see the team out, it may not be possible, but this close, it allows me the opportunity to go. So enough about North Carolina. I would just say for sure, if you have the free time, and North Carolina is a huge minor league baseball state. I think they got maybe like 15 minor league teams just in North Carolina. So I mean, the drive from Asheville to Fayetteville, I think I go through at least 3 or 4 other cities that have minor league teams. So it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome place for minor league teams. So I wanted to get into some of the current top prospects here, just to talk about them, generate some conversation. Feel free to ask anything else. Before I move on to this, anyone have any questions about the kind of the way it started, developed, the Astros feature thing, or anything else about what I do?
You may address this in a minute, but, how many potential top prospects like Jacob Melton do you think have the, the one problem with that, they're so good, there's not too many slots. But how many, like Jacob Melton do you think might be on the major league roster in 2025?
So the way things are going now, we saw Pena debut early in 22, right, when he got on the roster. I think a lot of it is to see what happens in free agency. I know, Tucker's got that year left. Melton seems to be the logical replacement. McCormick has struggled a little bit this year, so the outfield is still a little bit of a question mark. I wouldn't put it past him to be able to start on the major league roster next year. But I don't expect too many because I don't think there's going to be a ton of roster turnover from this year to next year, other than the free agents. I know we were talking about the money earlier, and the Astros have already kind of spent out of their tax threshold, which cost them a 2nd round pick last year when they signed Josh Hader. So I agree. I don't remember who said it, but I agree. I don't know if they're going to spend big money to keep Kikuchi because they have so much money tied up in, unfortunately, injured players like McCullers and Javier. But Melton, I think, out of all the outfielders that haven't debuted yet, for sure, Melton has the best chance. Did you have questions?
I was just wondering, in looking at all these players, have you ever tried tracking them once they get to the majors to see if your predictions, how they're going to be, actually panned out?
Definitely, and I've been plenty wrong. So as I've watched, kept up with the minor league system. In 2000, I think it was in 2015. I think it was 15. The Astros drafted AJ Reed out of Kentucky. Do you remember?
Good man.
Hit like I think I think it was at 17 between AA and AAA. He hit like 336 with 34 homers and 120 RBIs. I thought for sure he was the future at first base and or DH, and completely flamed out. So I'm talking to scouts when I go to some of these minor league games. They really put a lot of stock into the quick twitch athlete. And AJ Reed just wasn't that. When you start facing that high end velocity is what their concern was. So, you'll see like Melton and then the next guy that I'm about to look at where they have the strikeouts, but they have these like insane tools that if you can refine them, they're going to be great. Where AJ Reed he just didn't have that to be able to catch up to the velocity.
Yes, sir. Speaking of being playing wrong, it seems like for years, the so-called pundits are calling us the 30th or 30th.
Oh, yeah.
And we keep bringing these guys up to succeed.
For sure.
Is that just they're missing it, or is our development that good, or what do you attribute that?
So I definitely think development, I'm biased in this, but I think that there's definitely an East and West Coast bias to the farm systems. I feel like we've seen plenty of Yankees, like the next great Yankees prospect, and they flame out, Gary Sanchez, everyone was so high on him, and, we saw what the Astros did to him as well. But I think the Astros are extremely good at developing players, and especially pitchers, and we've seen that over and over. Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, Luis Garcia, Ronel Blanco this year, all these guys, none of them were top prospects. They all signed very, very low bonuses.
Is it Farty?
Sorry?
Is it Farty?
Which one?
Don't we have one coming up?
I'm not sure if that name rings a bell.
Well, maybe I have the wrong name.
That's why I worked. Right, things like that, but I got the wrong name earlier. You got it.
Is
It's
it
all
an
right.
international guy?
He said it was wine. I think it said wine.
Yeah, B-A-R-C-I.
No, sir.
B-A-R-D-I.
Maybe Anderson and Brito is who you're thinking of?
Rito,
Okay.
that's it.
So yeah, he's still a long way away. He's 19. He just debuted in single A this year. I think he's 19. But that could be another guy where no one's high on him. He signed for a little tiny bit of money, and then he makes his full season debut in a single A, and he's throwing like 99. And everyone's like, oh man, who's this guy? So those guys tend to not make these lists, these top 100 lists.
They come up quick.
They do. I do think now the new rule change, where if you have the rookie of the year, you're able to get a draft pick next year, but that rookie of the year has to be a top 100 prospect, which are the top 100 prospects are chosen by MLB.com or Baseball America. I don't know. I'm not a fan of that rule. You're allowing a company to choose your top prospects, and if they win, we're getting an award or whatever. But anyways, yeah, I think the Astros are extremely good about it. We've seen that over and over. I mean, Chas McCormick, I don't remember the exact round, but he was way back. And I know he had a rough season this year, but we saw what he did in 22 in the playoffs and even last year. They've constantly gotten contributions from the minor league system where other organizations can't say that. And the Astros haven't had to break the bank. Now, we're getting to a time now where it's getting a little iffy. We've had replacements. We had Pena that replaced, Correa. We're still trying to replace Springer. I guess it's kind of tough. He was a 3rd round pick out of Maine. So he was, everyone knew he was a great defender, and obviously his back kind of stepped up. His power. He's been, roughly an average hitter as a major leaguer. I know he's had some errors this year, but, he stepped in for Correa and kind of, won us the World Series in 22. Eventually that's kind of gonna run out, where the Astros continue to rely on the guys and let some of these guys walk. For instance, and I hope I'm not rambling on, but I love talking about prospects. George Springer left, and we get a draft pick for him. Well, the draft pick they used was Chase McDermott, who they used to trade for Trey Mancini back in 22. Garrett Cole left, and we got a draft pick, and we took Alex Santos, a pitcher out of New York, and he's in Double-A. He's been hurt. He's kind of struggling. Carlos Correa left. We get a pick, and it was Andrew Taylor, another injured pitcher. So these players walk in free agency. You can get a compensatory pick, but if you don't hit on that pick, you've lost these great players for nothing. Which kind of brings me to Kyle Tucker, and I think they have a hard decision to make this year. If you're not going to be able to extend them, at what point do you move on from a guy and maybe try to get some players back? But anyways, but the Astros continue to develop prospects. They get guys out of nowhere, and we're seeing it. The last couple of years have been tricky. Go from Jeff Luna in 19 to James Click in 2021, 22, and then now Dana Brown. So there's been a change in philosophy. The Astros are extremely aggressive this year at prospects. They promoted guys at a rate that I've never seen before in the 10, 12 years I've been covering the Astros prospects.
I think we left off Jeff Bagwell.
So Jeff Bagwell, yes, sir.
Do you think, you said this year, they promoted players like, do you think that is Dana Brown?
I think so. I think it's
doing what he does.
And it just
That's what he's known for.
Extreme aggressiveness, which there's some good positives to it. You're challenging guys early, but if you look at it, last year they had Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the draft, Pascal Ferreras. He was shortstop. Started out the season in high A, which was already pretty aggressive for him, last pick. And he started out well, and they moved him up to Double-A. And I think this season in Double-A hit like 205. Like he really struggled. And sometimes maybe a little bit more patience would be good for some of these guys. But he's opened them up to challenges, and I definitely think it's a Dana Brown thing. So
What has Drew Gilbert done?
been injured, been on the injured list. So yeah, that Verlander trade, that's another one. I was like, you let Verlander walk, and then you trade your top 2 prospects for him. Gilbert has been injured. He's back now. I haven't looked at his stats recently, but he is back. Ryan Clifford was the other one they traded, who was just he's a 20-year-old outfielder, and he's kind of mashing the ball in Double-A, strikes out a lot, has some hit for a high average, but it's 20-year-old. So I don't know how you want to look at that trade. If that was a win, the Astros, make it to the Game 7 of the ALCS, they wouldn't have got there without Verlander probably. But yeah, that's the
Prospects or suspects?
Yeah. Everyone loves to say prospects over parades over prospects. And I don't really understand the argument there, because to me, you gotta have both. You can trade for guys, but if you don't have the prospects to come up, then it's eventually gonna run out.
Remember all the hype around Seth Beer?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Man, we traded him, it was great, wasn't it?
They traded him and JB Bukowskis,
I mean,
Josh Rojas, and Corbin Martin.
okay,
Yeah.
well, I mean,
For Zach
2 out of 4 are great. I just remember that Seth Beer, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, his first
I
round
can't
pick.
believe we got rid of him, I've
I know.
never heard of him since.
Yeah.
It's in 205.
And the Astros have, maybe they know what they're doing, and the prospects they traded, none of them have turned into legit stars elsewhere.
Well, it's the ones they don't trade. When you think back to the 17 Verlander trade,
Right,
Tigers wanted Kyle Tucker the whole year long.
right,
And Uno wouldn't give him up, and to the end wouldn't give him.
for sure.
And it was the right decision.
Right, yeah, no one they traded in that deal has done much. Jake Rodgers, Jazz Cameron, and Franklin Perez was the pitcher. But that's where I think
With
the
the
parade's
A's.
over prospects, yes, sir. What's that, sir?
Correct. I said Cameron's with the A's now, and
Yeah, exactly.
Roger is catching. Correct.
Right.
Great.
Yeah, that was, but you look back on that one, that was obviously a phenomenal trade for what Verlander has done for the Astros over the last 6-7
What's
years.
the guy we picked number one that we didn't sign because let him.
Brady Aiken. Yeah, left-handed pitcher.
So we got a number second pick and we got Bregman.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was the year they took Bregman number 2 and they took Tucker number 5. So,
But it's hard to tell. After that Correa, it was between him and Brian Brust. Now they're both with Minnesota.
right.
They both came back after being injured in the 19th thing.
Yep.
But I went through that draft and I don't think anybody else made it from the old draft.
Oh, I mean, the chance of missing on a draft prospect in MLB is just insane. And so really, you know, the Orioles are kind of experiencing it now where they've had some good draft picks and they have a good team and they have good prospects coming up. The Astros did it too, but it doesn't always work. I mean, there's been plenty of teams that have drafted high and continue to be terrible. I mean, the Tigers are one. I mean, they took Spencer Torkelson, number 1 in 2020 or 21, something like that. And he has not been very good.
Step back from the mind.
So, not what you'd expect for a number 1 overall pick. So credit to the Astros, obviously, for drafting well, because they did have a miss. They took Mark Appel and they could have took Chris Bryant just 13. But yes, sir.
Go back to your site, did you say you interviewed players?
Yes, sir.
So how do you actually do that?
So,
How do
multiple
you do
ways.
that to different levels.
Yeah, multiple ways.
Do you find that, these minor leaguers actually say something, because you know, any interview with a major leaguer, they don't say anything.
Yeah, some of them don't say too much. I would say like I was in Asheville in 2022 and I talked to Spencer Arrighetti. He was a great interview, gave a lot of insightful information. This year I was in Fayetteville and I talked to a couple 18-year-olds and it was like talking to a high school kid. You know, they didn't really say much, you know, 3 or 4 word answers and that was it. So making that into an article is a little bit difficult because I had to really be creative. But no, I do it either over Zoom or over the phone, sometimes over email. But yes, sir, that's how I do it, or in person. So, when I go down to Corpus, I went down a few times this year. I try to talk to at least 2 or 3 players. So I talked with Bryce Matthews. Well, there in a second. I talked with Melton a couple of years ago in Asheville.
Okay, does the club somehow facilitate, like, if you hear someone's been promoted, you want to interview them, if they're from North Carolina?
I
You contact the
usually,
club and say, hey, let me,
I could, and I have done that before, but usually like me just getting in direct contact with these guys is the best way. Via social media, and they'll just,
okay,
they're usually pretty open and they'll give me their phone number and I'll give them a call and we'll chat for a few minutes and then I'll put something out there for everyone to read.
You actually interact with the GMs.
I'm sorry?
You actually interact with the GM.
A little bit with the general managers, more so like their head of media. So like in Fayetteville, the media guy is also the radio broadcaster. And no Dana Brown. One time at Sugarland, I got to talk, but you know, I wasn't gonna ask anything that was gonna do better, just, you know, Brian McTaggart or any of those guys. So real quick, I'll hit on some of these top prospects. Jacob Melton, the number 1 prospect right now. He's in AAA, second round pick a couple years ago. Big time power, big time speed, stole 49 bases last year, had 22 homers. Struggled a little bit with injuries. He's got kind of I should have put videos on here. He's got kind of a funky swing, which they've been working on to kind of quiet down a little bit. But really good prospect, good outfielder. Bryce Matthews is who we were talking about earlier. Houston kid, went to Atascocita High School. First round pick last year out of Nebraska. If anyone's Texans fans here, I found this out the other day. He actually played on the same football team as Kenyon Green. Texans starting left guard. He was the quarterback. Kenyon Green was the left tackle. There's a picture of them in the huddle that I shared on social media, but I thought that was pretty cool. He's kind of like, he's not very tall, so he kind of looked like Kyler Murray, you know, when he was out there. But anyways, the Astros just promoted him to AAA, and he was the first round pick last year. That's pretty fast. You know, the Astros, like I said in the past, they really weren't doing that. But same thing, he's kind of like the same build of Milton. Big time power, big time speed, a little bit of swing and miss, but he plays all over the infield. Earlier in the year, he was playing some third base. People thought maybe that was the writing on the wall for Alex Bregman. I think they were just getting him some versatility. I think they're going to try to figure out where can he contribute at the major league roster if it's not shortstop or third base or somewhere else. So they're kind of playing him all around. But that's definitely a guy to keep an eye on right now. Walker Yannick, that's a guy that's mentioned, first round pick out of St. Houston.
Was Astro GM or somebody used to say They expected batters to have 1,500 plate appearances and pitchers 500 innings in the minors before they thought they were ready for the majors.
You know
That
what?
doesn't sound like that's thing anymore.
Yeah, no, I have heard that before. Bregman is probably one of the ones I can think of that flew through the system the fastest. He was drafted in 15, made it to high A, and then by, what was it, June of 16, he was up playing his favorites. So, yeah, I think that is almost out there. I mean, we've seen what the Angels have done. Their first round picks have been debuting like the year they've been drafted. So, I think teams are just getting more aggressive and getting the guys up and playing. Yes, sir.
They used to be more worried about arbitration, than they said to be.
Definitely, and the MLB has tried to cut down on that and not make that, you know, the Astros started George Springer and was it, in 13, they started him at AAA or maybe it was 14, I'm sorry. Started him at AAA and I think he played like 12 games before they called him up because they wanted that extra year.
That's why they wait till June.
Well, there's two different, there's one that, and I'm trying to remember exactly how it works. June is a certain cutoff, like the Super 2, but I think some of that has changed recently. It looks like he knows he knows about that more than I do. But I think they changed some of that recently to try to combat some of that. And that's why they added that new rule of, you know, if you're rookie of the year, you start with the team on the major league roster, you know, on April 1st, whenever the season starts, then you can get a pick. Because they're trying to prevent teams from holding guys down for money reasons. But the Astros benefited from it quite a bit, doing that with Springer and some of the other guys, Correa, McCullers, all those guys. So Yannick, first round pick this year. Alex Sam used to say he's a catcher. Everyone saw him as the best defensive catcher in the draft. I think that's one of the positions where if he can give you anything offensively, you're probably happy about him. Like I'll trade, you know, if you can get a good defender behind the plate, you're probably pretty happy with that. Outside of, you know, Maldonado. I know that was Red Washington last year, but at least Yannick, I think, will sneak into some home runs. But we don't know a ton about him yet. But like I said, great defender behind the plate. Struggled a little bit in high A this year, but going from Sam Houston and their level competition to high A baseball is quite the jump. Zach DeZenzo, we've seen him up, 12th round pick in 22. This was a James Click special right here. Kind of came out of nowhere. He went and played in the MLB draft league before his senior year of high school or college, and had some ridiculous numbers. The Astros stole him in 12th round. We've seen what he can do. I know it's real early. You know, the Astros are in a spot where they can't. It's hard for them to allow guys to work their issues out of the major leagues. You know, they did it with Bregman early. They obviously have plenty of time to do it with Springer and Correa and those guys. You know, if he got consistent playing time, if Loperfido did, if any of these guys that have came up got consistent playing time, maybe they sneak into something and find something. But right now they're at a point where they can't really let a guy start, you know, 30 games in a row if he's being terrible because the Astros are in playoff. But really good prospect, and I think we'll see. I think he'll be on the major league roster the whole year. Luis Baez, this was an international signing in 22, signing for I think it was 1.3 million. So they call him a bonus baby. He just got promoted to AA. Once again, another promotion I thought was a little aggressive. 20 years old, had some strikeout concerns. Finished off the season in AA, but definitely the best international prospect. So I only put the top 5 because I didn't want to ramble on too long. The Astros, Sugarland has 90 wins right now. It's the most in all of minor league baseball. They have an awesome bullpen, and some of that is some veteran guys that have some major league time, but they're really carried by 3 prospects that are like 26, 27, and 25 in the rotation. And that's AJ Blueball, Colton Gordon, and Ryan Gusto. So those pitchers are doing really well. And those are the ones that aren't going to make the top 100 list. They're kind of struggling to make the top 10 in the Astros system, but they're going to be big league contributors. And so I expect big things from them. That's all I got for this PowerPoint, but I'd love to talk. So if y'all have any questions, please throw them at me.
So I had a question for you, and maybe this is just, I don't know if this is a team philosophy, but do the Astros promote players with college experience faster than do international or high school? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I would say they do. But I think a lot of it just has to do with how's the player performing at the level they're at. And they have more data than obviously any of us have or I would have. They see the exit velocities and things, right? It's like we see it where maybe a guy like Luis Baez, it looks like he's only hitting 220 and he's striking out a lot, but every time he's connecting, he's hitting the ball, you know, over 100 miles per hour. They know when the guy's more ready, but yeah, Dana Brown has definitely brought in a new aggressiveness to the system. Because this year was pretty wild with the promotions we saw. Yes, sir.
last year, the minor league system had pretty poor records, pretty much every level. I was quite surprised that, generally, they did this year based on that. I guess a lot of it was, additional signings.
Yeah, so like their closer is Wander Suero, saying his name right, but he set PCL record in saves. He got like 35 saves. Luis Contreras, we saw him up at the Astros a little bit. He's pitching down there. Nick Hernandez, Seth Martinez, all these guys that have some major league time. And then, like I said, a couple really good pitchers. They got a lot of contributions early from, like a Joey Loperfido and Zach Dezinzo and guys like that. And then now they're getting some from Melton and Matthews. So, I mean, there's some top prospects there, but also some really good depth pieces. And then, yeah, there's, I think, Mickey Sori, the manager down there, is pulling the right strings at the right time. And the bullpen, like, I don't know how many times you watch the starter, we'll go 5 innings, give up a run, and the bullpen tosses 4 shutout, and they win 6. Mickey Sori, he was a pitcher. I think he pitched for the Astros very, very little. But he's been the manager down at AAA now for a few years. Yes, sir.
John, why haven't the Astros scored the Japanese and Korean market? And 2, what do you think of Pedro Rose?
Yeah, so I think it was like, I wish they could have signed Strahan Otani. That would have been awesome. And it's like a little rumor that they were going to, but you saw how much money he got. I don't know why they haven't really delved too far into it. I don't know if they just don't think the connection over there, the scouts. I don't know. I'm trying to think. They got creative a little while back, signing guys out of Mexico, but not 17-year-olds, but like 25-year-olds, and some of them they pretty much all planned out. But I don't know why they haven't really gotten into that market yet. But it would be really nice to see, because I think there's another good one that's supposed to come this summer, this winter.
Yeah, I asked McTaggart that same question in February.
Yeah.
And kind of looked at it. The last Japanese player after Kikuchi, the one before that was Aoki in 17, right?
Yeah, trade for
And
him.
then before that, it was Matsui,
Matsui,
right?
yeah.
So it's just, I asked Brian, they have Latin America, they have Cuba, they have the Caribbean kind of down, but why not see?
Yeah, I'm sure they're trying. I wouldn't say they're not trying to get those guys, but maybe they just feel like.
I think Japan teams charge a big premium to take their player from them.
Teams in Asia? Or just-
Yeah, the Japanese league. If you want X player, you gotta pay the team a whole bunch of money, and then you gotta give them a lot of money. So it's not like you just pick a guy up for free.
Yeah, there's like a posting fee that they.
Yeah.
On Pedro Leon, I'd say, they signed him for a lot of money back in 2020 out of Cuba. He was the top prospect to sign. But I think kind of what you see is what you get. Good power, good speed, but he's going to strike out a lot. And I know he didn't look good in his MLB time, and I don't think he'll ever be like a star player or anything, but I think he can maybe carve out a role as a bench player. He can maybe, walk into a few home runs every now and then and provide some defense. Yeah.
I was going to Pedro Leon with my questions.
Yes, sir.
Forrest Whitaker.
Or Tyler Whitaker.
Forrest
Whitley.
Still.
Whitaker, yeah.
Forrest Gump, yeah.
We're talking the pitcher. Okay. Forrest Whitley, that's a unique one. They drafted him at 15. At 16, he had a ridiculous season. At 19 years old, made it all the way up to AA. It was like a top 30 prospect overall. And then he got suspended. He got injured and injured again and injured again and injured again. And obviously, he finally made his debut this year. The Astros, this is the first year they exclusively used him in relief. And I think we kind of saw what he could do. He's got a ridiculous curveball and he's throwing 99. So this year was kind of tough in the bullpen. There's a lot of depth there, but I think next year it'll probably be a mainstay in the bullpen. So. Yes, sir.
All these players have agents now.
They do. They have agents. Yes, sir.
And how much do they pay them after the salary?
Well, I'd have to. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. Now, after COVID brought some good things to really the world, we have Kroger curbside pickup and grocery delivery, which is one good thing. Another good thing was they now provide housing for all the players. So that started around that COVID time. So really the players, their salary's not there, but they provide an apartment for them, transportation, meals, things like that. So I have to look up what the current salary is now. Most of the ones that get the high bonus are probably living off their bonus, not really the salary.
They now, like, if they get called up, once they're called up in the show, like for a day, right? Then they're a totally different salary level in final class.
So I thought that they only got paid what, you know, the rookie number when they're actually on the major league.
No, but I mean, when they go back to the minors, I don't have the number in my head, but it's a significant bump once you've been up to the majors and you come back versus what you were before. I mean, for as long as you're in the minors.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, no, I didn't make
So
any
it's
case,
all
I didn't know
good,
that.
what I'm saying. It's all
For sure,
good.
for sure. Yes, sir. So, yeah, they're, the pay has seen, dramatic increases over the last probably like 5 to 10 years. It used to be really, really bad. It's getting better now, but it's definitely not a luxurious lifestyle. And, you know, some of these guys do have families and kids to take care of, and they're not getting a ton of money. But
What happened to all the families that used to host players? They still do that, or is that not needed anymore?
it's not needed anymore. So some of the families will still offer to, you know, help facilitate rides to and from the stadium, meals and things like that. But yeah, I used to know quite a few host families down in Corpus Christi, and they love doing it, but now that the Astros provide the housing, they're no longer getting friends.
Actually, my ex-son-in-law was in the White Sox organization in Annapolis, and they were in the process, the miners, of filing a big lawsuit against not having decent concessions, and I understand they won that.
Oh, really?
And this is the big deal, is this, one's making the big bonus bucks, didn't want to participate.
Right, yeah.
But
Yeah.
the ones grinding it out, and I went in where they live, and it was. Oh, gosh, it looked like a college dorm from the forties.
Really?
It's not that I was there. It was just a filthy thing.
Yeah, so recommended, going to North Carolina, outside of obviously the Astro minor league stadiums, are there any other in your travels? Any other stadiums that you recommend or
I haven't,
put on your minor league bucket list?
yeah, I mean, there, in North Carolina, I haven't been to any others.
Annapolis is nice.
Just because my time there is so limited, I want to, see the Astros prospects, but, so I can't really recommend any others other than I just, from what people have told me about some of the stadiums there, but.
I've been to much of them.
Oh, okay, Durham's great. Durham, yeah.
Actually, there's something in the Greenville, North Carolina, there's a baseball stadium, reputable Fenway Park, in Greenville. Minor league team plays here.
Yeah,
We got
see them.
Annapolis, we got Statesville.
Yeah, there's a ton. I think there's maybe 14 or 15 just in North Carolina. Yes, sir.
So going back to your analysis on all these guys, you got Loperfido, Wagner, and Bloss. Think back to what they are, what they were, and what they are now in that trade. How do you feel about it?
So I still feel like it was a lot to give up for a rental. Obviously, Kikuchi's been great. But Loperfido seems like, I know he struggled a little bit in Toronto, but he seems like a guy who's going to be on a major league roster for a long time. And then Jake Bloss was our top pitching prospect. So 3rd round pick, he was doing real well, hit 98. I mean, he was pretty dominant in the minors. So that was one I was most worried about for multiple reasons, but that's a controllable starter for 6 or 7 years, especially with all the injuries we've had. Wagner seemed like he didn't really have a position. He's hitting well for Toronto right now. But Bloss was the one that kind of, when it initially was reported as like a 1-for-1 Bloss for Kikuchi, and I was like, that's rough, And then you see the next one and you're like, crap, that seems like a lot for a rental pitcher. But I guess that was the market, and Kikuchi's pitching well, and the Astros won a World Series, and then maybe it was all worth it. But
The way I look at it right now is that I don't feel like the Astros would be leading the Mariners right now if they didn't have Kikuchi.
no, I mean 8-0 and 8 starts. That's it right there. So
I don't know.
9-0. Did he win that? Oh, it's okay. Sorry about that. 9-0 and 9 start. I know we haven't lost a start by Kikuchi, so
Right.
that is extremely impressive. And yeah, you're right. I mean, I thought they were going to go get somebody at the deadline. They had to get somebody to eat some innings for sure with all the injuries.
Well,
I didn't
sure, because
expect that.
Flaherty was gonna get bid up by various teams.
Right.
They could grab Kikuchi, but they had to strike.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
sure.
But no, I mean,
Yeah,
if you're projecting a playoff rotation right now, Kikuchi's in it. Probably over there. Yes, sir.
Okay, so the Astros have a terrible minor league system, but the Cowboys had the most wins in the minors. How does that play out?
So I think most of their, I just went down this list, and he's played in AAA, he's played in AAA, he's in AAA. So I think some of their top prospects have had good contributions in AAA, and then they have a ridiculously good pitching staff. So a couple of years ago, they had some really good, they had like a Jose Siri who did really well in AAA. This year they got a guy from the Yankees, Jesus Bastidas, who's doing really well in AAA. So I think they've accumulated some good talent that necessarily hasn't been the top prospects, which gets you that high.
Siri's still hitting 200 for the tempo.
Yeah, we picked
With
some
power,
you know.
with power.
Yeah,
He does.
Plays good defense.
yes, sir.
Do you speak Spanish?
I do not. And I told my wife it would be awesome if I could, because that would make some of this a lot easier. Unfortunately, I do usually only speak to the English speaking players. We have used a translator every now and then to help us out, but through translation, it's kind of hard to still get direct quotes, and some of them are even a little hesitant to do that. But on my podcast, I have a guy who helps me out, and Kenny Van Doren, who actually works for MLB Pipeline now, but we interviewed later on this year. Any other questions about
Anybody
this?
else? So you do have a podcast?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just the Astros Future Podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple, wherever you can get your podcast. We were a little heavier earlier in the season. We've kind of slowed down. Colton Gordon, who's in AAA right now, who's pitching really well for Sugarland. We tried to have him on last Monday, some scheduling conflicts, but hopefully next week we'll have him on. But Ryan Gusto was the last one we had on. He's pitched really well in AAA too.
So Jimmy, talk about your, if you have any competition, direct competition with what you do, and how do you think you compare with them?
So, I mean, I'm like, there's guys out there that know way more about baseball than I do. When it comes to evaluating a prospect, I do mine out of like pure passion and the love of the game, and the love to like, I'm not going to go on and bash these guys on social media and say how Melton isn't like, that's just, I don't know. There's enough negativity in the world. I'll share the positivity on the prospects, so I try to keep it that. There's no one else that really has a site dedicated to Astros prospects. So you can find it on MLB Pipeline or Baseball America, where they cover all the prospects. So I'd really say there's probably no direct competition, which is kind of nice. But like I said, I'm not, the analysis I'm going to give on somebody, it's going to be generally positive. It's not going to be negative. It's I'm looking at the bright side of this, guys. Some people don't like that. Some people are realistic and want the negatives too. I'm not going to say that he should be the #1 prospect in baseball. I understand what his faults are, but I try to focus on the positives. Yes.
How do you explain a guy like Jake Myers?
In terms of like his prospect, like how he was a prospect, or how he is now as a pro.
What was he, a 20th round pick?
He was late out of Nebraska, just like Bryce Matthews. And it took him a while to get going. He had a great season in AAA, but the thing that, and I was told this while I was in the minors from one of their coaches, Jason Bell, who's now at the Astros, but he was easily the best defender and best outfielder in the Astros system. And that's been pretty clear at the major league level. He had that arm injury that kind of hurt his arm a little bit against Chicago a few years ago. But he's kind of like we're talking about, like with catcher. If you can have an elite defensive center fielder that just is like a decent hitter, you're probably okay. And the Astros did that with James Risnick for years, and I think they kind of found that guy in Myers, who's phenomenal defender, not great with the bat, but enough to get by. But to do that, you got to have plus hitters in other positions, and I think maybe that's where it's hurt a little bit more this year. When you had a ridiculously stacked lineup with Risnick and center back, I think that was okay. But they kind of counted on Myers' battle order.
All right. Thank you, Jimmy.
Access.com is the website, and then at Astros Feature is the social media on X and Instagram and Facebook. I do have a couple business cards if y'all want them. Appreciate y'all having me out here. Like I hope I didn't ramble on too long. I know it's after 8. I love talking baseball and prospects and the Astros. So just thanks y'all for having me out here, listening and asking the questions. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Well, the only thing we require now is that you join our church.
Hey, you know what? I was thinking about it, and I'm probably going to do that. So thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. Now, I would like to call up those wearing Houston Babies uniforms. Mike and Bob. We have an event. If you don't know about the Houston Babies, it is our vintage, it's our chapter vintage baseball team. Now, Mike is coming up here. The athletes on the team are, I'm probably one of the young guys. No, I'm joking. Believe me, I fall down. We've had some really young guys play on the vintage baseball team.
First big bad, he fell down.
No, I was safe though.
I was the umpire, I called it safe.
Sometimes they.
Then he got out random.
But, we're having an event in November. And we're looking, for new players for the Houston Babies. And if you don't know anything about vintage baseball, I'll have Mike McCurdy and Bob talk a little bit about vintage
Crosby.
baseball.
McCarty's dead. Real dead.
Don't ever offer me a glass of wine.
All right.
Mike Crosby. All right, who's gonna talk about vintage baseball?
Well, Bob is the guru.
Okay,
And
so
the
Bob.
senior member, because he's been to every one of the ladies' games except one. Right.
I'm turn it over to them.
We started about 10 years ago. At the request of the Montgomery chapter, when they had a vintage baseball team. They say, would you guys like to play vintage baseball? What's vintage baseball? Well, it's baseball as it was back in 1860. There is a rule book for 1860. So I said, that sounds like fun. So we asked for volunteers. And our first game, tell you how tough it was. We only had 8 people show up for the first game. So we need a ninth player, right?
Got a celebrity.
We got a celebrity,
12th man.
12th man, only it was a ninth man. Chick-fil-A cow.
No one choice. Played right field.
Played right field.
It's a lot of time crazy.
This dude was so bad. One of the wives of one of our players that played for Joy Dierker said, I can play better than that, so she became my right fielder.
I don't was playing a cow suit.
And we're not, don't know that. But come that time, we developed. We started out with no uniform. We were using paint shirts, or the white paint shirt, we borrowed. Then we decided to get some uniforms. We bought these uniforms, which are beautiful, but hot. So Weichman was the whole way. Most of our players averaged, 60 years old. Well, we've had some who were 70, 75.
And some 12.
We've had some 12. They were good. We recruited the players from the life. Baseball team, what won there, out of military. So we've had a mixture of talent. I'm gonna pass around. This first picture shows our first team. You might recognize the guy in the center. He played baseball for a couple of years himself.
Back then, the pitching distance was 40 feet, right? And you
Well-
had to, and the goal was to throw the ball so the hitter could hit the ball,
Correct.
right?
That's right.
There are no balls, you can't strike out,
Yeah.
but there's no walking. Wherever you hit the ball is, hit it fair and it goes foul, it's a fair ball.
Did you have to
Foul and
soak the
foul.
runners to get them out?
No,
Throw the ball.
that was the big change in vintage baseball was.
Yeah.
People enjoyed soaking the runners, which is hitting the ball, that's how they. Prior to 1860s, that's how you got the guy out. You couldn't hit him. But they outlawed that, but occasionally they still did it anyway. Oh, I forgot. I really don't like.
Yeah. Well, the rules are kind of interesting. A lot of the players who played for us played softball. And so when they got up for the first time, they hit the ball, and they started running. And when they got to where softball first base is, oops, I gotta go another 30 feet. Because we played by regular baseball rule, 90 feet. We had one guy who never made it to second base, he just passed out. He said, I can't do it. Yeah, I can't do it more.
Can you give us some of the wild rules about
Sure,
vintage baseball?
Sure. As the gentleman said, you throw the ball underhand, the purpose is to hit the ball. Hit it somewhere. Now, the ball players cannot wear gloves. So you can imagine how tough it was for the first baseman. This hard ball comes out of it, he's gotta catch it. To find it, figure out, until it's out of bounds.
The ball is about the size of a regular baseball, but it's soft. So
But still, some of these infielders have arms.
Yeah.
And trust me, it hurts.
Most of the players who came were sluggers. They wanted to hit the ball as far as they could. But they're always out. And you say, why is that? Because you catch the ball on one bounce, you're out. So you hit 400 feet. Somebody can usually cover the outfield well enough, catch it on 1 feet. So the secret is hit line drive. Because either they're
You
hit real
catch it in the
hard
air or one bounce.
or the player can't catch it.
If you have a man on first, they hit a ground ball short and he catches it on the first hop. It gets confusing because your inclination is to, well, maybe throw to first base, but the batter's already out because you caught it on one hop. So now the guy on first base is kind of hung up between second. But your reflexes of playing baseball, it's hard to compute, think about that.
On the foul balls is crazy too, where you foul, and those rights.
Well, the worst part of it is if you're up there and you hit a foul ball to the catcher who was called up behind, and he stands what, 10 feet behind home plate. And you swing as hard as you want, you bounce it to, you're out.
If you tip it on one bounce and the catcher catches,
Yep.
you're out. You caught it on one bounce. The other big plays you've seen a lot, you swing and the ball kind of spin it out in front of the plate. It's got all this backspin and then it comes back. But it's a fair ball. So then the catcher has to go chase wherever it spins. And if you got that little pop up in front of the plate, you gotta move right or left and kind of anticipate which way the ball is spinning when it's out there. It's a lot of work.
So as a chapter, when do we usually play and when's our next event?
Well, the next event that we know about will be in September, in November, I think, the first weekend in November. We play the George Ranch. You know where that is, down by Richmond. Playing out in the field, because that's how they played back in the day. They didn't have diamonds, they didn't have all the good stuff for baseball. So they throw some bases down and you play. This guy who was the umpire is called a blind Tom. Kind of interesting. The span they call cranks. And if for some reason the blind Tom's not sure if the batter is safe or out, he'll ask the fan. Now the fan's sitting on the home team, they'll always call that man safe.
The fans get to vote on.
They vote, thumbs up or thumbs down. But it's fun because they do participate in it. The pitcher is called a curler. A run is called a
Shall
tally.
Yes.
Yeah, and you cannot score a run until you ring a bell.
And mark your score on the top.
Yeah, those were the rules, and we have it right. Here's a picture of our honorable, this is the team we played mostly. We were fortunate enough because some of our connections to play 4 games the last couple of years at Constellation Field. Which is really terrific.
Katie used to have a team, the Katie Combine, after the combine machine, but they kind of expanded. So Bob Copas is a member of the chapter. He's got a Red Sox team, and I didn't know I had Red Sox on jersey you put on me, but probably Bob's.
No, the first Philly. Houston Babies were founded, not in 1860, but pretty close to that. And they were the Mudcats, Red Sox. So we put that on there. And then
Oh, they were.
one of our players was the Mary Miggins. His dad was a chapter member for many years. He played for the New York Giants. And
Long ball. You have to have a nickname too.
And he could hit the ball on his front. Funny guy. He passed away during one of our seasons, so we memorialize him with his initials. We'd love you to have sign up. Girls can play, guys can play.
Yes,
So maybe anyhow.
depends on how tired we are.
That's true.
We try to play a double header, 7 innings, but I think last time we played 7 and 5.
Yeah, but the last game, you remember, we were losing, we came back, and the babies came back and won, and then we were like, you know what, we're done. And then it rained on us, right?
It just depends on how many runs you score too.
The scores aren't that high, maybe 7.
Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't.
That's a reasonable games. And as those of you who have been with Katie not too many years ago, we had a guy who was wearing that blue jersey up here in front. And he was playing the behind, and there's a foul ball. And he was going for it, and it was right by the fence behind him. He didn't let that stop. He ran right to the fence. Didn't get caught. Terrific.
I got him out, I caught it.
A lot of good sportsmanship. My first introduction to it, I just went out to watch, but a lot of people got tired of pitching. I used to pitch slow pitch, so I volunteered to go out and pitch. And had a lot of trouble getting it over. And guy hit the ball, and the guy got a hit, and then we made an error. And then finally, about 8th batter, the guy finally flied out to left field, and Bill McCurdy was on the sideline and said, "Hey, McCroskey, congratulations. You now have an earned run average."
But that's fine. We have the uniform. This is our oldest uniform, and this is our current uniform. We got hats and pants to go with it. And you enjoy it. We have some of the younger people who said if they like to play, like to try. You don't have to be a superstar. You gotta be able to hit the ball, though. You gotta. So it comes up there, you gotta hit it. Catch it, maybe. But it's fun. And we were invited out of town numerous times to play in Dallas and other places. My folks haven't wanted to travel.
But we played in Sealy,
We played in Seattle, played in Katy,
played in Katy.
Montgomery.
For waiting.
Well, not where you drive to, so.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, there's also a vintage baseball championships that's held every year.
Yeah.
In places like Ohio, right, or something like that.
It's in Michigan. It's Dearborn.
Yeah.
They're a vintage World Series in April.
Yeah. So, if you want to know more about vintage baseball, you can go to our chapter website. And one of the links at the top is the vintage baseball team. You can click on that and see some pictures. And a little rundown of one of the last events we had. So, it's a fun thing.
Does everybody recognize the person I was referring to?
Yes, sir. Jimmy Wynn.
Jimmy Wynn.
Jimmy Wynn.
Big supporter of our teach. He came to Jimmy Wynn.
So,
Thanks.
all of you are gonna sign up, right? All right. All right, thank you. I think we're gonna have one more pitch next month because the event will be held. I looked online, the website, the George Ranch Frontier Days is Saturday, November the 16th. So out in Richmond. So I think that's the day we're shooting to have the event. So even if you're not very good like me, I mean, you know, just go out there and have a little fun. That's it. Based on time, it's almost 8:30. I wanted to give us a quick little rundown. Some of us went to the events in August. We had 2 events, SABR 52. We also had the Corpus Christi event. 15 people showed up for the Corpus Christi event. The Hooks versus the Drillers. I had to post some pictures, but because of the time, it's already 8:30. It's okay. We might wait till October to kind of run through that, to have some of the people who went have some more pictures, but and talk about some of our favorite presentations from SABR 52. Just one thing though, I wanted to share from SABR 52. Actually, 2 things. Our December speaker that I hope is going to speak with us, the one that wrote the Earl Weaver bio, Earl Weaver bio called The Last Manager. All right, he gave a great presentation about travel baseball. And why is that important? Because my grandson plays travel baseball, select ball. Their season started yesterday. So I had a lot of great questions for him. So hopefully we can get John Miller to talk to us about Earl Weaver and about his experience as the talking about travel baseball. And he also was an actual Little League commissioner in Belgium. So wow, pretty interesting to get him. And a former speaker for the group, maybe you remember her, Bailey Hall, the young girl. She got a student scholarship to go to the convention where she presented her findings in a poster form. She had Tal Smith help her. She had Larry Dierker help her. And the name of the presentation was Leadoff Walk versus Leadoff Single, which is actually worse. And Bailey actually won she got best poster presentation at the national convention. So she won an award, and we're real proud of Bailey. Please you hear that, go back and talk to her again. So anyway, last but certainly not least, we have a trivia contest. I have a lot of swag from Minnesota, and Bob's actually donated a couple things. So Herb, who won last in July, we're gonna have the trivia, and I'm just gonna give out a lot of stuff, you know. Remember we had Patrick and the 2 tickets to the Astros game?
And you can't play teams.
You can play teams. And I have plenty of gifts to give away. My wife told me to give all this stuff away and quit leaving it on the back. So, here we go. It's sitting on my table since I got back. Let me pass this out. All on one page. We decided to make this basically a one concept contest this time. It's the title of it, Hitting for the Cycle. So some of these are going to be very easy, but a lot of them are going to be almost impossible. In advance. And I put on each line how many points you get for responding correctly. You want me to just read them out, Joe, or just let us? Yeah, once everybody has a form, yeah, just read them out. Got a couple extras, y'all have yes. That's her. Okay, first question, how do we see the point down, or best husband? Yeah, I tried to give a few gimmicks. All right, let me just read them off in case you have. If on Zoom, I have trouble seeing this, but I think I got it. First question is, name the Houston Astros who most recently hit for the cycle on July 21st, 2024. So I'm going to do it fairly fast so we get done. Number 2, it's worth 6 points. I thought this was probably one of the more interesting questions. 3 family pairs have hit for the cycle in the major leagues. A grandfather hit for one in 1951, Pittsburgh Pirates. His grandson accomplished the feat in 2004 for the Philadelphia Phillies. So that's 2 points right there to get that. In 1980, the father hit for the cycle for the Minnesota Twins. In 2004, his son did the same for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So that's an additional points if you get both those games. And then the last one is in 2002, the father hit for the cycle for the Houston Astros. In 2019, the son hit for the cycle for the Toronto Blue Jays. That's 2 points there as well. Next one is, most of them are going to be pretty hard. First one is name the player who did it. Okay, did 6 players fit for the cycle in the major leagues 3 different times. First one is name the player who did it 3 times for the Cincinnati Reds in 1883 and 1890. I did put a little bit of a hint, although I don't, unless you live back there, you probably don't familiar with it, but nicknamed Long John, he had 69 career home runs. I thought that was interesting that, of course, it's back in the dead ball era. B, name the player who accomplished this feat for the New York Yankees in 1921, 1922, 1928. He's a strong-armed outfielder who celebrated 3 world championships with the Yankees. He led the American League in home runs in 1925. That's 1 point for that one. Okay. C is name the player who hit for the cycle twice, Brooklyn Robbins in 1931, and once with the Chicago Cubs in 1933. This player was better known by his nickname rather than his given first name of Floyd. D, now these you might actually get right.
This Hall of Famer accomplished the feat in 2008 for the Seattle Mariners. He did it twice more for the Texas Rangers in 2012, 2015. This active player did it 3 times for the Washington Nationals, 2017, 2019, and 2021. And he holds the North Carolina state record for stolen bases one season. F, most recent player to hit for the cycle for the 3rd time, did it for the Milwaukee Brewers in 2018 and 2022. He started his career with the Miami Marlins. He was the National League MVP in 2018.
I think I didn't know that one.
All right, number 4. This is 1 point. Some of you might know this one. Only one player has hit for the cycle in the postseason. He performed this feat in 2018 for the Boston Red Sox. And he played college baseball for Rice. Number 5. This one's worth 3 points. Basically, name the 3 franchises who've had more than 20 cycles hit by players for their teams. Might just be able to guess those.
Well, we're gonna try. I can get it 3 teams.
Right, that's, at least you have something to work with.
Need one more.
All right, number 6, worth 1 point. Who hit for the cycle most recently at Minute Maid Park in 2017? Did it while playing for the Tampa Bay Rays. Okay, this one I kind of found interesting. This is where name the 2 stadiums that have the most sizes. The total for each is 18. Number 8. It's worth 1 point. 15 players have hit for the natural cycle, which is single, double, triple, home run in that order. One of the players did it for the Boston Red Sox in 1979 after playing a number of years for Houston Astros. He also hit for the cycle for the Astros. Number 9, just the opposite. 10 players have hit for the reverse cycle. That's home run, triple, double, single. Best known player wore the number 42. Hang on. Hopefully that's a given.
Except for that day where they all wore number 42 and then you confused about who's who.
All right, and then the last one before the tiebreaker is worth 9 points because 9 Houston Astros have hit for the cycle. I think we might have had this same question on previous deals. I don't know if anybody remembers it or not. Name those 9 players. Any time for that? And then we'll run a tiebreaker is. That one is 1 Houston Astro hit for the cycle twice. Name that person. So obviously he's also named at number 9. That him. That's
All right, that it her?
that's the total quiz.
That's the quiz. Okay, so
Enough time for
we have gifts. We have gifts for tonight. I'd like to invite our speaker to come up and would you like? We have 4 Astros tickets to give away. You'd like 2 of those or 4 of those, or we got a lot of Minneapolis SABR 52 swag. You got a 3X t-shirt. I got a Joe Mauer Hall of Fame pin. SABR 52 pin, a Saints pin, St. Paul Saints, Twins cup, Twins ice cream cup. I like it, man. You know, SABR 52 hat, St. Paul Saints hat. Extra large, if you're into this. And then Bob graciously donated a couple of Astros bags. All right. So everybody should walk away tonight with something, hopefully. And we have the tickets from courtesy of Patrick.
Yeah,
So
if you get 2 answers correct.
And those.
I'm gonna let our guest speaker pick something. You want the tickets or you want, one of these things here?
Someone else for sure can have the tickets.
Okay.
But, you know, but they can take what they, I'll take whatever.
Okay, they were laughing at me with all the twin stuff, so who knows? You might just want to pick something.
Appreciate it.
No problem. Let me know when everybody's ready.
I'll take that.
I got my one, so I answer some good. Don't overdo
Figure
it.
this is coming from everybody in the group. You want me to hand out your business card? Oh, all right.
Well, that was good, it's just trying to do it.
Okay, all right.
It's pretty good, it's still the things that I got, so I don't have it, but it's not really that. It's very scared of like, yes. It's a sign. And I thought it was. Oh, I missed. Let's see. No more new flags.
John, you're not struggling, are you? You're not struggling on these,
I'm
are you?
trying to struggle, so someone else.
Goal is to finish second. When John's here, that's right, when John's here, the goal is to finish second.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to finish that.
Y'all don't know, John Lloyd writes our trivia for our newsletter.
He wakes up.
He makes so much.
I was live for all this.
Me too.
I know, you were live for 18 tonight.
Rather than this. That's up there.
Scott, you ready? Go. You got them all, right?
I got it. Whoops.
Mike, you done, right?
Yeah, I was down.
Question one. All right, I think everybody's ready. Online, are y'all, I don't see Sam or Robert.
They're still, yeah, there's the.
I'm ready. I don't have a lot, but I'm ready.
All right, let's start going here through it.
Sam, you can't Google.
I'm not Google.
First. Name the Houston Astros who most recently hit for the cycle on July 21st, 2024.
Jordan.
Jordan. Correct. The three family pairs, the grandfather and the grandson. Anybody have an idea on that one? Who? No.
Oh, Gus Bell, I'm 0 for 6.
Gus Bell. Gus Bell's. I told you. Is the grandfather.
Buddy.
Lou?
Or David.
David Bell.
For who?
Yes, so it's Gus Bell and David Bell and grandfather and grandson.
You got 51s?
That's the 51 and 2004. The second one,
Wait a minute. Oh, okay, and 2000.
yeah, that's when David Bell did it for the Phillies. Okay, in 1980, the father did it for the Twins and the son did it for the Pirates in 2004. Anybody have any guess on that? That's the hardest, I think. The son used to play for the Astros as well. Left-handed power hitter. Right, yes. It's
Kirby Puckett and Tom Puckett.
it's actually Gary Ward.
Oh,
Errol Ward. Yep.
Jimmy Bulls. Okay, the third one is, the father did it in 2002 for the Astros, and in 2019, the son did it for the Blue Jays.
Craig and Kevin.
Craig and Kevin.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yes. I saw that and I said, well, I gotta include that for sure, and I found out about the other two.
We got a couple wins.
Okay. Number 3, some of these are really hard. Name the player who did it 3 times for the Reds in 1883 and 1890. His nickname is Long John. He had 69 career home runs.
Bottom.
Smith, Jones.
Pickles.
Silver.
Yeah, that's the only one I know. Silver? It's not bottom one.
Bottom lead me to race.
Good fish, chip shop.
It's 1893. John Riley.
John Riley's got.
There's gonna be an Irish. name. There's no-
Yeah, that makes sense.
Irish name, John Riley, that's right. Long John. Okay, the second one is name the player who accomplished this for the Yankees in 21, 22, and 28. He's a strong-armed outfielder, celebrated 3 world championships, and he led the American League in home runs at 25. It's not Babe Ruth. I'm useful. Very good.
It's only led.
All right. C, name the player who hit for the cycle twice with the Brooklyn Robins in 31 and once with the Cubs in 33. His real name was, first name was Floyd. He's better known with his nickname.
Babe
Babe
Hey, Burnett, very good. Okay, some of you might get this one.
So is it 2 points?
No, it's 1 point for each,
Well, there's 6 of them.
there's 6 of them. Hall of Famer accomplished this feat in 2008 for the Mariners. He did it twice for the Rangers in 2012 and 2015. Adrian Beltre.
I've got one.
He is the active player, did it 3 times for the Nationals in 2017, 2019, and 2021. And he holds the North Carolina State record for stolen bases 1 season.
Trey Turner.
Trey Turner.
One that's ripped the.
And then the last one of those, the most recent player to hit for the cycle for the 3rd time, did it for the Brewers in 2018 and 2022. He started his career with the Miami Marlins, and he won the National League MVP in 2018.
Yep.
Christian Yelich. Y'all did pretty good on this. All right, number 4, 1 point. Only one player has hit for the cycle in the postseason. He performed the feat in 2018 for the Red Sox. He played college ball for Rice University.
Ben Dillon.
Brock Holt. Brock Holt.
Brock Holt.
Where is he now?
Where is
I don't know if I didn't guess it.
Kenny Gale.
Oh.
I don't know.
He had a pretty good postseason for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
He played a lot of positions too.
Never gonna play for Lions.
3 franchises have had more than 20 cycles hit by players for their teams. Name the 3 franchises.
St. Louis.
Yankees, Red Sox, and Giants.
Okay, Red Sox and Giants are right.
What did you say? Philadelphia? Did you say St. Louis?
The Cardinals, not the Cardinals.
Reds?
I guess the Yankees are wrong.
Yankees are wrong.
Cubs.
The Braves,
Nope.
Pirates.
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 Yeah. Pirates, Red Sox, and Giants.
Yeah, Gus Bill, we could look out that. And their award is.
All right, who hit this for the cycle most recently at Minute Maid Park in 2017? He did it while playing for the Tampa Bay Rays. I think he's still playing. Longoria, somebody said, yeah, Evan Longoria.
Yeah, he retired.
Yeah, he just retired.
Arizona, Retired a month ago, she said.
All right, this one was kind of surprising to me, but one of them is pretty obvious. 2 stadiums have had the most cycles. The total for each is 18. Name the stadiums.
Wrigley and Fenway.
Fenway's correct.
Dodger Stadium.
No.
Tigers.
Angel City. No.
Ford Field.
Colorado, Coors Field.
Wow. Who you got that makes sense.
Number 8.
At the end of all these points, see, 1, 2.
Oh, we're still on
We're still working.
Okay.
Number 8, talking about the natural cycle. One of the players did it for the Red Sox at 79 after playing a number of years for the Astros. He also hit for the cycle for the Astros. Maybe. No guesses?
And the horse Daniel. Hey,
No?
Bob Watson.
Bob Watson.
Yeah.
what?
And then the reverse cycle, best known player wore the number 42.
Mariano Rivera.
Jackie Robinson.
That's right, who?
Jack Robinson.
Big spoon, right?
Number 42 was kind of, please for something. All right, can y'all name the 9 Houston Astros that did for the cycle?
Bob Watson,
Bob Watson,
Jordan,
we're done.
both of the Cedenios.
That's correct. Andujar and Cesar.
Altuve,
Altuve's number 5.
Biggio,
Biggio 6.
Bagwell.
Bagwell never, yeah, Bagwell 7.
Jose Cruz.
Jose Cruz did not. So I say Scott, Luke Scott,
Hey, Brandon Barnes.
Bertman, Brandon Barnes 9. And y'all already, did
Joe
y'all already
Morgan.
say Bob Watson?
Joe Morgan.
I started with Bob Watson.
Yeah, so it's Altuve, Alvarez, Biggio, Bagwell, Andujar and Cesar Cedeno, Luke Scott, Bob Watson, and Brandon Barnes.
There was one guy that we traded to Colorado. I was at the game that hit for the cycle.
Brandon Barnes.
Was that Brandon Barnes?
No. Now, you didn't say Berkeley. That's right.
So watch the games. I get
This is, I mean, I don't know if the tiebreaker will be needed, but.
So her name was again Watson.
Yes.
Daniels.
Right.
Altuve and Biggio, Alvarez.
Luke Scott,
I didn't get it.
Barnes, Watson.
And the last two were Barnes.
And
Oh, we got Watson.
yeah,
you got Bagwell on your list.
Brandon Barnes.
yeah, Bagwell did it. Okay, and just, I mean, if the tiebreaker comes into play, we'll use it, but you know who the one at Houston Astros that did for the cycle twice?
Yeah.
Which
Well,
today,
Watson did, he did in each league.
no, but this is for the Astros, so.
So Daniel, say so.
Say so. Yeah. Y'all time to add things up here?
What's the maximum number of points?
31.
Okay, let's start at 0.
I think we can flip it. It's very good. Maybe
Four.
let's start with 10 because I think a lot of people got the Astros. Okay, we got a few. Yeah, how many we have at 10? At 10? At 10? Holy cow! Wait, well, I've
got 11.
Wow. Okay.
I got 7 on my list.
Okay, I heard 14. Anybody have more than 14?
So I got 11.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Kobe's kind of half raising his hand. You got 14?
I got 16.
Great. Whoa, we got 16. So nobody got more than 16. Sam? 16 now?
Somewhere less than 6.
Kobe, congratulations. You get the pleasure of writing the trivia contest for next month.
And nothing like it.
And nothing like that.
It was 7.
And wait, and you get your option of you want 4 Astros tickets, you want 2 Astros tickets for Patrick, or you want something up here.
I'm already going with my father, so I'm gonna take something from over there.
Okay, come up here and get it. Kobe's gonna grab something up here. First place winner. Okay, so back. So after 16, we had 15? 14. Nick, got 14?
Yeah.
Okay, you want Astros tickets or 2 Astros tickets, 4 Astros tickets, or something up here? Look at mom, look at you.
What day is it?
Thursday's game.
Yeah, I guess I'll take 2 of the tickets.
2 Astros tickets?
Yeah.
That okay, mom?
Yeah.
Nosebleeds, got 'em.
Great team, yeah.
Okay,
We're here at Walmart, so we're going.
2 Astros tickets. Okay, 13. Mike, Astros tickets or something like
Take
that.
the other two, I don't give this money.
All right, Mike at 13, he's gonna give the other 2 to somebody. Okay, so the Astros tickets are gone, all right, 12. We got Ted,
I'm 11.
okay, so 12, gotta grab something up here. So you might wanna do it now, before everybody comes up here and grabs something. So who do we have, 11? Holy cow, yeah, Ted, you might wanna come over. Okay, so we have Tim at 11, we have John at 11. We have Jonathan, come up here, guys, y'all grab something. And who else we have at 11? Bob? Sure, she wanted. Bob, you wanna grab something or? Yeah, okay. Just plastic bag there, like a bag of I'm sorry, plastic bag.
Just got one, this is a book about the was 72 something.
Oh, cool, all right,
There
there you go.
Hi. Canada bird.
3X,
Oh, Western.
nice to wear, comfortable. Thank you.
It's written by.
Hey, no problem. No problem.
Coach.
Ted, you got it? Okay, what you want, Bob? The ice cream cup? We got a St. Paul Saints hat still.
Yeah.
Dad, we got some pins. Okay, so we got a St. Paul Saints hat. We got the Astros bag and we got the skins left. That was 11, right?
Yeah.
10? Oh, I'm sorry. Sam, how many did you have?
It's the 20s.
9.
9, okay. Anybody at 10? Tony! Come up here, sir.
Is it good stuff?
Well, it's your choice.
It's the best stuff, it's free.
You know, Tony, you don't have to take notes. You can let me get in trouble at home, I don't care. We got a St. Paul Saints hat, we got a St. Paul Saints pin, Sacred 52 pin, and a Astros first, bag, whatever.
Oh, you want some trivia? You more trivia?
Sure, go ahead.
Last week I was attending they're going to be, this is the 100th anniversary of Memorial Park. And so they're planning some, new exhibits there. One of them honoring the, Camp Logan soldiers. And who were all court-martialed in 1917. And the, court-martial were reversed lately. But the interesting thing was, the legend existed for the black ball player, for the black soldiers there. But they played an exhibition game at Camp Logan in Memorial Park against the Chicago White Sox. Yeah, the White Sox were training in Texas that year, and this is the year before the Black Sox became historical fact. So, I mean, they were damned forever, I guess. But anyway, it was interesting that there was an exhibition game while the White Sox were training in Texas against the Camp Logan soldiers at Memorial Park. The trace of that, but it was interesting fact.
Thank you, Tony.
And did we
Good
locate,
stuff, Tony.
did we locate that to be a bomb?
Hey, bye.
It's a trivia question. Bob Durrell, did we locate that field in our Houston baseball book, all the ball fields in Houston prior to 61?
Oh, sure.
We know the exact location.
Yeah.
Well, this is good.
Tony, there you go.
We wrote.
Got you a St. Paul Saints hat,
What we wrote.
Mr. Man. Get on, Tony, let's see what it looks like, all right? Thank you, Tony.
I got one of
All right,
those. Nurse.
who has 9 besides Sam? All right, we got you want an Astros bag or one of these 2 lapel pins?
I'll pass. Thank you, though.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, 9, Gloria? Eight. Anybody with eight? 7. 6. Bob.
I hate to say it.
I mean, we got 3 guests left. Okay, and we got 2 lapel pins left. One, Bob's gonna take one.
Nice, Gloria.
So, all right, 5, 4, 3, 2, nobody wants to admit it. 6, all right, Carl, we got 2 pins. Did you get yours? Yeah. Okay. I'll take something else if you want to. Jimmy, did you get anything?
No, I don't need it. For sure.
You sure?
You're away my pride?
No. Oh, look at me, I'm trying to get away Bob's pride. I'm sorry. Here you go. Here you go, Father. Take all saints. Oh, I like this.
Yeah,
There you go.
Just, we have now about 10 cases of our we really got used to things out. For a while, we was giving those to our speaker, because we gotta use a lot of Russians.
Right,
So
I have a box at home.
wanted to give something to our speakers.
Yeah, I can do that. We, as a chapter, we wrote a history of baseball in Houston before the Astros, 1861 to 1961. Several people in this room contributed to those chapters. Books in the Hall of Fame. So if you want a copy of that, let me know. I'll send you. You know, get everybody to sign it. Bob's taking my bag. Anyway, Sam is talking to us next month. Stay tuned for the Astros playoff potential. It's supposed to be the 3rd Monday, October 21st. We'll see how it goes. And also Greg is talking about big fella, right? Did Greg leave? Greg leaves? Yeah, he's giving a book review over the big fella. Yes, Jimmy.
And I'm talking about the Hall of Fame.
You're talking about, that's right, the Hall of Fame. That's right. Ted?
Brownie's books out, 1964, it's on Amazon.
All right.
Yeah, right. Tell Sam to show his book again.
Now, whose book is that?
Sam, show your book again.
Brown.
This one here.
This is next month, Sam's book about umpiring, and Bill Brown's book about 1964 baseball's bizarre season.
Steve Carell's book is what?
David Krell's book is 1966 about baseball. Everybody have a great day. Go Astros. We'll see you next month.
Come to my house, books.